Here are a few diecasts, obscure, rare, or special diecasts that I have found recently. By recently, I mean the past few months, because I haven't done a video about diecasts aside from the Lintoy video. But instead of doing them all on their own, I decided that I would probably, since they're all just one diecast, or maybe two if I'm lucky, I'll just make a video about all of them. They may be obscure because they come from a company that nobody knew about, or maybe they're from a country that was never, they didn't sell in the rest of Europe, or maybe they're just rare. Some of these diecasts are quite special. I do have a collection of Z-Toys Dino-Flights, which I will probably do a video about, because, well, it is a whole collection. I have a few rare diecasts, like ones that are just rare and in good condition, but there's nothing unique about them. They're just from companies that people know about, and everybody knows about the diecast. They just happen to be rare. So I'll probably show those on their own as well. But these are the actually obscure ones, the ones that you might need to ask people if they know about them before you talk about it, if you know what I mean. I should probably start with the one that is in the thumbnail of this video. That being this jet, what is it called again? The Alpha Jet SB11, I think. That could be 2 in Roman numerals. It's really unclear. Anyways, this jet, it's from Matchbox. It was released in 1973 or possibly 1974. It's actually a prototype. I didn't know that when I got it. The only released version of this was red and black and had Wehrmacht type crosses on it. However, this is a prototype version which comes in white and blue, and it has no stickers. Another thing which I find quite odd, I'm not sure if this is exclusive to the prototype. On the bottom of the wing, I'm not sure if this is showing up. Focus LED. There. It says PAT app for, which I'm guessing means applied for. Usually my Matchbox, they would have a patent number. They wouldn't say that the patent is just applied for. So I find that quite odd. This one has these wheels attached with a plastic piece in the middle and 2 wheels at the front. I did actually get another prototype Matchbox aeroplane in the same box, but it's not really worth showing because it's so damaged. That's the plane done. Now I'll move on to this one. This one is possibly the rarest diecast company that I have a toy from, a diecast toy from. This was made by a company called Gisima, or Gisima, I don't know how you pronounce it exactly. But they were from Spain, and they made cheap diecast, and they're quite uncommon. I found this in a vintage and modern toy shop in Limerick. It's definitely the best thing that I found there. As you can probably tell, this is basically a copy of the Matchbox BMW M1. Aside from the fact that it has absolutely tiny wheels and gigantic wheel arches. Another difference is this incredibly difficult to open little hatch in the front here. I can't get it open. There was a piece of paint keeping it closed, but I've obviously taken off that piece of paint. There we go. It doesn't even open that well when you get it open. The stickers have started to fade, like the blue colouring has come off of a lot of the paper stickers. The back, it has a license plate and rear lights. And on the bottom, it says BMW Escala 1 to 57. And then up there it says Gisima, and here it says Made in Spain. Not sure if this is actually showing up. You can see that relatively well enough. The next one is this. This is made by a company called FC. I've already shown an FC on my YouTube channel before. However, this one is a lot older than the one which I showed. The one that I already showed was from the 90s. This one I believe could be from the late 70s or early 80s. I'm not entirely sure about it. But this is a Commer 302 van. It's painted yellow and it has these stickers on it which say Algemeen Servicebedrijf, which I can't exactly remember what it means, but my father, who is Dutch, told me before. Another thing that's different about this is all metal. Even this little ladder piece up here is made out of metal that's been painted a kind of a silver colour. Something that I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of is on top of each axle there's this little piece of red plastic that could be to just keep in the axle. I don't quite know. It is quite detailed for what it is. However, there's one bad thing about it, and this, I think some kind of chemical, maybe washing up liquid or bleach or something, spilled on it at some point and damaged it quite a lot, which is a shame. You can see that some of the paint has also changed colour where whatever splashed onto it. The next one is this Porsche 911 Speedster, as it says. This, as you can probably tell by the wheels and just the way how it's made, is one of the Muck Toy or MC Toy or Maisto diecast, but it's just rebranded. It says Edo Car, copyright 1991 on the base. Is this showing at all? It's really difficult to get these plastic bases to show on the camera. I suppose you just have to take my word for it. Unless the camera decides it's going to work. No. Anyways, yes, it does say copyright 1991 on the base. Nothing too special, it's just a rare brand. I should probably show this one next because this one's quite interesting to me at least. This is a Ford, I believe a C-Series Ford by Yatming. Of course, the base of this one should be a lot easier to see. Yatming, made in China. You can disconnect the trailer, of course. It has these blue transparent windows. It's quite a long vehicle. I do like the early Yatming wheels, they look quite cool. Not the earliest, of course, because then we'd be looking at like Tomica type wheels. When I looked this up, apparently it's from 1974, but I'm not entirely sure about that because the one that they showed said made in Hong Kong and my one says made in China, so I'm guessing my one's later. Here's the trailer. It says Uku, whatever that means on it. It doesn't say Yatming, it just says made in China on the base. It has the same wheels and one door is missing, which is a shame. But I do quite like it because I really like the Ford C-Series trucks. They look cool. The next one is this bus, which was made by a company that I had never heard of. All the other diecasts that I just showed, I had already heard of the company that made them. Except for this one. This was the only one that I didn't hear about before I found it. This is a bus, in particular a Leyland Jumbo, which is actually a Leyland Atlantean, for those who don't know anything about buses. Made by a company called Summer Metals from Hong Kong. Back in the 80s. There's their logo there at the front. It shows some kind of a tree with what looks like a deer or some kind of animal. On the base it says Leyland Jumbo made in Hong Kong, along with the serial number. It's actually quite a cool diecast in my opinion. I really like the fact that it has a blue driver. Oddly, however, this blue driver, who is in the driver's seat, he's wearing a helmet. I think he's taking his safety a little bit too seriously. Anyways, the next one I will show. I'm saving my favourite one for last, as you can probably tell. This is made by a company called Diecast. From what I can tell looking up about it, this was released in 1988. However, there are so many different versions of this particular vehicle, I don't know what year this one's from. In fact, I'm not even sure if this one's complete. It looks like it's missing some kind of tow hook there at the back. It is a Diecast Renault Espace. You can open the tailgate, you can open the front doors. It's not a very detailed model. As you can tell, there are pieces of paint that are sticking out where they shouldn't be. The interior doesn't actually fit in its place. The wheels are very cheap. I mean, it's alright, I guess. The headlights are the same plastic as the windows. That's like the only cool thing about it, really. Everything else is really cheap. But then the next thing that I'm going to show I think is very cool, but it's a shame that my one is incomplete. This is also a Diecast. You can tell that this is actually a very high quality Diecast, of course, despite the fact that it's missing a few pieces. It's entirely made out of metal. The base is made out of metal, the body is made out of metal, the doors are made out of metal. There is nothing where it shouldn't be. It has proper stickers rather than the horrible plastic ones that were on the other one that I showed. Although, of course, some of them have become damaged because that's just what happens to these types of stickers over time. It has much nicer wheels which have actual detail to them. And I just prefer it overall. Of course, parts that it's missing include the tailgate, this door, and there's also supposed to be a die-cast metal light that clips onto the roof here. It's a shame that that's missing. This is the Renault 12TS. You can tell that throughout the years, companies like Diecast, they started to lose their quality. Early Diecast were like this, very, very detailed, had a lot of moving parts that were all made out of metal and weren't very cheap. They were quite good die-cast and they always had different parts. Another part that I'm missing for this, there's actually meant to be a little patient that you can put into the back. And not only that, but you're also meant to have like a driver who's kind of like a small version of the Playmobil figures. At least that's how I would describe it. I'm not entirely sure what year this is released. I've seen people mentioning it being released in 1973, but that had different stickers. This particular version, I saw people talking about it being released in 1975 with these ambulancia stickers. And I also saw people saying that was only released, like this particular die-cast model was only released by Diecast in 1979, but I hardly doubt that because that wasn't even that long before the horrible Renault Espace that I just showed you. I mean, I still like the Renault Espace. It's by Diecast, it's a rare company and it's an ambulance and I really like ambulances, but it's just not a very high quality one. This, on the other hand, I absolutely love. I think it's possibly the coolest diecast that I own as of now. It's big, nice, detailed. I wish I had a complete version. Another thing I should mention actually, there's a tow hook on the back of it. That's because you could get a set with it, which had like a camper van that was a mobile medical center, basically. And you could also buy that separately. I've seen it in the box with this vehicle and on its own. I think that should be all of my rare or obscure diecasts. I was thinking of making the next video about my Voltron lines, except there's just one problem with that. I am missing the black line, so I don't know if I should wait until I get the black line. Anyways, that is all for this video.